But he stopped, doubtless to reflect, for instead of allowing his first impulse, which had been to go straight to Lord de Winter, to carry him away, he leisurely descended the staircase, left the palace with his head down, mounted his horse, which he reined in at the corner of the Rue Richelieu, and with his eyes fixed on the gate, waited until the Queen's carriage had left the court. He had not long to wait, for the Queen scarcely remained a quarter of an hour with Mazarin. But this quarter of an hour of expectation appeared a century to him. At last the heavy machine, which was called a chariot in those days, came out, rumbling against the gates, and De Winter, still on horseback, bent again to the door to converse with her Majesty. The horses started on a trot and took the road to the Louvre, which they entered. Before leaving the convent of the Carmelites, Henrietta had desired her daughter to attend her at the palace, which she had inhabited for a long time, and which she had only left because their poverty seemed to them more difficult to bear in gilded chambers. Mordaunt followed the carriage, and when he had watched it drive beneath the sombre arches, he went and stationed himself under a wall over which the shadow was extended, and remained motionless amidst the mouldings of Jean Gogin, like a bas-relief representing an equestrian statue. Chapter XXXIX. How, sometimes, the unhappy mistake chance for Providence. "Well, madame," said De Winter, when the Queen had dismissed her attendants. "Well, my lord, what I foresaw has come to pass. What? Does the cardinal refuse to receive the king? France refuse hospitality to an unfortunate prince. But it is for the first time. Madame, I did not say France. My lord, I said the cardinal, and the cardinal is not even a Frenchman. But did you see the queen?" "It is useless," replied Henrietta. "The queen will not say yes when the cardinal says no. Are you not aware that this Italian directs everything, both indoors and out? And moreover, I should not be surprised had we been forestalled by Cromwell." He was embarrassed whilst speaking to me, and yet quite firm in his determination to refuse. "Then did you not observe the agitation in the Palais Royal, the passing to and fro of busy people? Can they have received any news, my lord? Not from England. Madame, I made such haste that I am certain of not having been forestalled. I set out 3 days ago, passing miraculously through the Puritan army, and I took post horses with my servant Tony. The horses upon which we were mounted were bought in Paris. Besides, the king, I am certain, awaits your Majesty's reply before risking anything. You will tell him, my lord," resumed the Queen, despairingly, "that I can do nothing, that I have suffered as much as himself more than he has obliged as I am to eat the bread of exile and to ask hospitality from false friends who smile at my tears, and as regards his royal person, he must sacrifice it generously, and die like a king. I shall go and die by his side." "Madame, madame," exclaimed De Winter, "your Majesty abandons yourself to despair, and yet, perhaps, there still remains some hope. No friends left, my lord, no other friends left in the wide world but yourself. Oh, God!" exclaimed the poor Queen, raising her eyes to heaven, "have you indeed taken back all the generous hearts that once existed in the world?" "I hope not, madame," replied De Winter. "Thoughtfully, I once spoke to you of 4 men. What can be done with 4? 4 devoted, resolute men can do much. Sure yourself, madame, and those of whom I speak performed great things at one time. And where are these 4 men? Ah, that is what I do not know. It is 20 years since I saw them. And yet whenever I have seen the king in danger, I have thought of them, and these men were your friends. One of them held my life in his hands and gave it to me. I know not whether he is still my friend. But since that time I have remained his And these men are in France. My lord, I believe so. Tell me their names, perhaps I may have heard them mentioned, and might be able to aid you in finding them. One of them was called the Chevalier d'Artagnan. Ah, my lord, if I mistake not, the Chevalier d'Artagnan is lieutenant of royal guards, but take care, for I fear that this man is entirely devoted to the cardinal. It would be a misfortune, said De Winter, and I shall begin to think that we are really doomed. But the others, said the queen, who clung to this last hope as a shipwrecked man clings to the hull of his vessel. The others, my lord, the second I heard his name by chance, for before fighting us, these four gentlemen told us their names. The second was called the Comte de Lawford. As for the two others, I had so much the habit of calling them by nicknames that I have forgotten their real ones. Oh, mon Dieu! It is a matter of the greatest urgency to find them out, said the queen, since you think these worthy gentlemen might be so useful to the king. Oh, yes, said De Winter, for they are the same men. Listen, madame, and recall your remembrances. Have you never heard that Queen Anne of Austria was once saved from the greatest danger ever incurred by a queen?